Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new interview with Dissonant Waves. It is the trio. It is Trix. It is Ritalin. It is Domino. We are all here. And we have a special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm RJ Ramanauskas. I am the leader person of Kicked by a Hand. It was me for a very long time. Now it's a full band, but you can call me RJ.
Welcome, RJ, to the show. Uh, we have a bit of history. We've known each other for a while. How many? I don't know how many years it's been exactly.
It's been at least, I want to say, around 15 years or so.
Somewhere
So it
around
was
there.
like right around like my senior year of high school or like my first year of college, something like that.
Yeah, it
So
was probably like a junior or senior.
2012-ish,
Yeah. So we've known each other
around
for a
there.
while, and I always knew you did
Yeah,
music. I did not super keep up. I apologize. And then you
it's all good.
released an album or an EP of sorts. Uh,
Hmm.
it is called "Thanks to Friends of Friends,"
Hmm.
and I listened to it, and I was very happy to hear it because I like ska. I liked it, and so having you on the show now, wonderful dream come true. Thank you for being on.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here with all of you. I definitely was so happy when you guys did your review of the album and you understood the Homestar Runner reference right away. I'm like, yes, these are my
Yeah,
people.
that
They
that's
get
actually
it.
going to be my first question of this whole is what is the
Yes,
best
there is
female?
more Homestar on the second album.
No,
Yes.
I'm asking what's the best female. Like these two, I don't think have
Oh,
been as Homestar Runner coded as I have been.
okay. So, okay, I don't know what would be considered quote unquote best, but I think a really good one to point to, or like two or three that are really good to point to, if you want like the true time capsule of the Homestar Runner original website experience, would definitely be Virus. The first time you
Absolutely.
watch it, and all the pop-ups in the cartoon are also happening onto your computer, freaked me and my sister out the first time that we watched it. So that one, if you want like as best as possible, watch on full screen the YouTube version, and that captures a good amount of the panic the first
Yeah,
time.
so to explain that one, I'll get with the other females as well, just to these two
Yeah.
specifically. The virus, so female, obviously strong bad email. The whole concept was is that strong bad was answering fan email, and I think it was like 45th or something like that in that kind of era. So like a bunch of emails had already been done properly. He gets a virus email, and instead of that just like corrupting his computer, it corrupts the whole website and the whole kind of Homestar Runner universe. So there's a lot of kind of. I mean, Homestar's always had fourth wall breaks as a joke, but there's literally a point where like the shotgun that Bubs is carrying is Homestar Runner's leg, because all the files and stuff have supposedly been corrupted that way. It's just that kind of. It's random, but it doesn't feel like random for the sake of random kind of humor that just really is highlighted by that email.
I love a good
Oh, it was a broken JPEG.
forum or
I had
website
no
being
choice.
hacked. Sorry, I overtalked the reference.
Oh no, it's all good, dude. Yeah, no, that's an excellent way to describe it. The big spoiler is Bubs eventually has to literally shoot the computer to make everything go away and get
It
better
has
again.
been 20 years roughly, so I feel like spoilers can be safely.
I'm just saying,
No,
I
I
don't
know.
know.
These
Feels
two
like
had a
the right
long
thing to
time to get onto
do.
that.
But
I
eventually, Strongbed has to get a new computer, so it's the literal end of that era, and then Strongbed gets a new computer. It's a whole thing. So a lot of people separate Strongbed emails, that particular part of the website, that era of cartoons, by the computer that Strongbad was answering the fan emails. So that was the end of the compy era. So like that was the height of like me and my sister's borderline obsession. We can still to this day quote a couple of like our favorite cartoons. Like one person just has to say like the first sentence and it's like, oh, they're off. Especially Teen Girl Squad.
Yeah, Teen Girl Squad was also because that one was also originally a female as well, I
Hmm.
believe. So it kind of like female also ended up being kind of the main part of Homestar Runner to the point where a lot of the lore of it was created from females, and Girl Squad's is true classic of Strong Bad wanted to make a comic and it wanted to like over stereotype teen girls, and it's just fantastic. It basically ends like every episode ends with each teen girl dying in some just incredibly out there way. Like my personal favorite is always Shakespeare, which is in another email where it's literally Shakespeare throws a spear into one of the teen girls. I can't remember which one for the it might have been the ugly one for all I can remember.
Yeah, my personal favorite is from the Battle of the Bands episode, clearly, and the ugly one's the drummer in their band, and she goes 16-hour drum solo, and then eventually it's floor tomed, stepmommed, pom-pommed. So I really want to make a T-shirt from that particular episode where it's just a screenshot of the ska band that's in the Battle of the Bands, and just write a caption of like, you don't know ska if you don't know this band, and it's like the most obscure reference possible. So
by the way, anyone who's watching this that expected this to not be 2 hours of Homestar Runner,
sorry, not sorry.
nah. This is the only time I feel like we're gonna have that space.
I know
I already
Trogdor.
have an obscure T-shirt. I do have a T-shirt for Sloshy.
That is fantastic as well.
Another made-up band from Homestar.
Yeah, Sloshy's
was a safe bet today.
Yeah, Sloshy's like a fake kind of like Weezer Pavement type of band. That's made for Strong Sad's favorite band. Compared to Strong Bad's favorite band, which goes more into that hair metal style. We covered Trogdor a bit recently, and Trix admitted that she never got into Homestar Runner as a kid.
My only knowledge of Homestar Runner is I got shown Everybody to the Limit like a couple times as a kid.
Okay, that's.
I find it funny because like I will mock these two for being theater kids, but like Homestar Runner is actually theater kid shit.
Yeah.
My friend in middle school who was super into the Wii was into Homestar Runner. So I'd always associate those two things together.
But that makes sense because it started off as like Mario Paint kind of stuff, and then like Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people was originally released on the Wii as well.
Yes.
Anyway, so you're in a ska band.
I am. I am indeed.
Interesting.
And I'm very grateful for it.
Yes.
I find that Chicago is a very good, fertile wellspring of ska and ska adjacent bands. Was that something that you were intending to go down because of the scene, or is that like an interest you just held on your own that you always wanted to explore?
I think it's just kind of been a thing that has existed, not just for me, but for my family for a long time. My dad has been in a band and is currently in basically the Phoenix Fire version of the band. Like they revived it. And you guys covered them too, Dead Freddy.
Yes.
I loved watching the critiques of that, especially because none of you know Lithuanian. So I was like, oh my god, this is the outside looking in. I was delighted.
I apologize to all the Lithuanians.
I'll take the apology.
You also will not learn Lithuanian, so
it's very obscure. There's not a lot. Yeah,
I don't know if that matters.
I mean,
yeah.
Again,
Anyway,
Chicago also rather large Lithuanian subculture as well, which I always found fascinating.
Oh, yes.
Like in high school, I feel
several.
I feel like Lithuanians were very proud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, for sure. There's several like dance groups in the Chicago area. The dance festival is coming up this coming July. I don't know when we're releasing this on YouTube. Or
late
whatever,
May, probably.
But, yeah, so it'll still be upcoming when this is released. The Lithuanian Dance Festival just so happens Chicago is the host city this summer, so I am thrilled to take my spouse to that. It's essentially the Lithuanian Olympics, but folk dancing. It sounds very nerdy, but it's actually very exciting because you have people coming from all over the world, including Australia, believe it or not.
Oh no, I could easily believe that. Yeah, It sounds like a very kind of like specific niche, but those people that are into it, very much seeing it being very attached to that.
It's very
Yes.
incredible seeing like hundreds of dancers doing a dance that's like older than all of us put together.
Yeah.
Like just like
Oh yeah.
this part of our culture that has endured, so much every kind of trauma and strife has managed to continue on. It like gives me goosebumps. It is not lost on me, just like the passing down of traditions thing for sure. So speaking of passing on traditions, my dad being in a band was also a fan of like second wave ska. So we're talking like late 70s, early 80s. So there's an album and it is on YouTube as well as the documentary version, but I didn't see the actual video version till like a year ago. Dance Craze, which is an excellent compilation of a bunch of British two-tone ska in that time. It's an excellent time capsule. So we have the English beat that's featured on there quite a bit. So you've definitely heard a couple of their biggest hits is Mirror in the Bathroom. We have oh gosh, what's the Save It for Later, which Dominic, you might remember we performed that particular song at our album release show at Bernice's. There's a couple songs of theirs that have made it on the radio. There's The Specials, that's another big one, Bad Manners. So if you don't recognize the names of those bands, you have very likely have heard at least one or two of like their big radio hit songs. So Concrete Jungle by The Specials is somebody could argue that's their biggest hit. They also have the Message to You, Rudy. So that's another one. I believe it was featured on like a rom-com in the 90s for some reason. That my memory is telling me that it was featured somewhere. So being introduced to that when my sister and I are tiny little children on our way to Lithuanian Saturday school, and you're hearing like bop, 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 hearing that kind of music, as well as this is legit being influenced by ska that's featured on Nickelodeon at that same time. Um, for example, the TV show Kablam, their theme song is a song by the Toasters, Two
Oh,
Tone Army.
interesting.
So ba-da-ba, ba-da-da-da-da-ba, ba-da-ba-ba. Ironically, that song actually has the F word in it, but it's an instrumental version, so it's not a problem for the kids. There's a couple
I mean,
interstitial songs they
I
had.
will just quickly interrupt because there
Mhm.
is also not the first case that I can remember. Oh, it probably is the first case of that. Sorry, because it would have been a while ago. But that's the case also with Over the Hedge, because that has Ben Folds rocking the suburbs, and that has a bunch
Oh,
of swears in it. But they had to tone that down for Over the Hedge.
yeah, yeah, it's
The
a
intro
similar
to
idea.
too.
What was that,
Tricks, you
Tricks?
kind of cut out. Could you? Yeah.
The intro to MASH too was also.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Suicide is painless. Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yes.
apologies to interrupt.
Oh
I just
no,
wanted to
it's
say
all
that before I
good.
forget that. Please
No,
continue.
definitely in the same vein for sure. The TV show Angry Beavers as well. I mean, that one was instrumental, but that one is another. They use that theme a lot. I actually very recently watched a couple episodes with my dad when I slept over in the burbs. Um, and that one is the only words is angry beavers, and then the rest is this excellent, essentially trumpet solo. So it's like ba 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 da da ba 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 da ba 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 da da ba ba. So like I've been around ska since I've been born. So it's always been an influence kind of in the back pocket or in the background.
You're
So
opening
when it
so many
comes to
memory
ska as
doors.
a genre, that has always been around. I know Rocco's Modern Life, that theme song was written and performed by the B-52s. So even though it's not ska, I still put it like somewhere adjacent because you had this like really cool funky because it's not on the spectrum of like 90s earliest like children's media of like let's even go to the range of late 80s to like mid 2000s, right? It's not quite the spectrum of the epic guitar solo that is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but it's also not Barney, right? So like it was this like lovely sweet spot of like kid friendly but rocks out loud, if that makes sense. So even
Yes.
just like pop culture like that has been influential, as well as like learning Lithuanian folk songs. Like I learned more Lithuanian folk songs than like American folk songs for a very long time. Like I didn't know the story about like Paul Bunyan or John Henry until I was well into elementary school. So just like having like these different influences before even comprehending like new wave music like The Cure or Groove is in the Heart by D-Light. I always associate that song with my mom, like these very cool like groovy things before getting into like punk and pop punk. So I wish I had enough brain cells last night to make a pie chart. So maybe I'll make one after this and send it to Dom of like all music that has influenced RJ. So like you have pop punk, you have ska, you have silly songs with Larry and Weird Al Yankovic somewhere
Hell
over
yeah.
there. And then all else miscellaneous, which would include like Kesha and Lady Gaga and whatever else is out there, right? So
Well, I do got to say as well, I find it funny that you've said that you associate D-Light's Groove is in the Heart with your mum, because that's actually very similar to me. Because every time I think of that song, I can remember my mum saying, "Oh, this song goes on for too long." So, this is the first time I ever heard this song, and I go, "Oh, how long does it go for?" And she went, "It doesn't matter."
I'm also
like a
glad you
full
brought
rap
up
portion too.
Billy songs with Larry. I introduced the podcast to that.
Less than a year ago, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, it was because you did Of Montreal, and I always think that Kevin Barnes sounds like Larry.
Yeah, that's right. And gosh, VeggieTales, they're from like Wheaton or something.
Lombard.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's very cute every now and then in some of the cartoons they would like reference Chicago or Lombard specifically on a map in like their Indiana Jones series
hmm
when they're like showing Larry going everywhere. They don't do Chicago. They do Lombard, Illinois. So
It's
yeah,
the
no,
Wayne's World
definitely.
of the time.
Yes.
Kind of, yeah.
Real quick, we have to correct the record a little bit because
Mm.
I think it was in the interview or not in the episode where we covered Kick My Hand, or maybe it was in the description. We talked about Bernice's Tavern closing.
It is not closed. It is alive and well.
And I have your comment on that video like up. I see it every time I go on our YouTube page because I didn't respond to it. So it's like your top unresponded to comments.
Oh my gosh.
So I always think about
I
like
just had to say
This has been
something.
haunting Dominic at night for the past 2 years.
Oh
However
my
long it
gosh.
was when we
No,
covered Kick My Hand.
No, Bernice's is alive and thriving. We've played there many times. They just had open mic there the other night. No, they're great. Actually, I have their T-shirt. It's just off camera. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yes. So it's the same art that's on some of the coasters in the bar. So I'll just.
do you want to like give a little rundown
go.
of like what actually happened?
Oh, so I don't know. Like sometimes a bar needs money.
Yeah,
Cash
that
only
is
bar.
true.
Cash
Very
only
true.
bar, and sometimes Stingo Steve, the owner, needs to pay bills. So,
So,
but we love him and we love the bar so much that, we rally together when we need to. We want to support not just our local watering hole, but like to a lot of people, it feels like a safe space, right?
Right.
They host LGBT friendly events, but of course on nights I cannot be there because I work nights in the suburbs. It's fine. They have Stingo, which is their version of bingo. That's like the big event. If there's not a band that week, that is consistently the tagline is every Wednesday for the rest of your life. So very very fun. I love being there. It's a huge bonus that it's a Lithuanian bar for sure. I would love it if it wasn't, but like I love it more because it is. You know, I even went there with my spouse and my sister the night of my wedding. We still wanted to party a little bit, so we went there and we took a Polaroid with Steve, the owner, and it's behind the bar now. So
That's
it's a
amazing.
very special, wonderful place for not just me, but my family and my friends as well. So.
I will ask a bit of a follow-up onto this as well, because I obviously don't know much of Chicago scene, let alone Chicago ska scene or all that. And obviously we can tell that this place seems to be a one where ska gets to perform. But would you say there is I guess the spectrum of venues that you're able to perform ska at, or do you feel like it's a very kind of isolated scene in Chicago, just in terms of, I guess, availability?
No, I wouldn't say that it's isolated because we're not the only ska band in Chicago. There's a couple that I'm aware of and have not performed with
I
that I've
just
seen.
clarifying. I mean more kind of in venues to perform at.
No, so like this will answer your question. So
Cool.
I've seen I have seen ska bands play at other bars that like my sister and I have frequented in the past. So like Reed's Local, for example, on the north side of Chicago, they have a small stage area, and I've seen ska bands play there. I've also seen Dead Freddy play there. I mean, it can range from anywhere from like your local watering hole to like larger venues. So like I've seen Real Big Fish, arguably one of the most popular ska bands, granted not from Chicago, but I've seen them perform at the House of Blues. I've seen Less Than Jake perform there at Riot Fest as well. And then like spaces in between. So we've played KbaH. We're going to be playing there again for Labor Day in September. So we haven't posted about it yet on social media. So y'all are some of the first to hear about it. Very
Hell yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
So KbaH is a fairly, I would say, well-known, famous venue. It's literally across the street from National Landmark, Wrigley Field, where the Chicago Cubs baseball team plays. And then there's just like kind of just your more local spaces. We played Has Studios, walking distance from where I'm sitting right now on the south side of Chicago. They had a wonderful outdoor stage area. We're going to be playing Reggie's in July.
Ooh.
So some relatively big names have played there. And then the house shows too. We're just supposed to play my friend's birthday party in August. I don't know what the venue is yet, but we're excited and available for it. So that'll be happening. So like it really is like if if you need the venue, make it. If that makes sense, like it can be as DIY as you want it to be. But also like just shooting your shot of like, hey, we're a ska band from the area. What kind of EPK electronic press kit would you need? Um, Sometimes they don't even need something like that. They're like, oh, that's cool. We have available dates here, here, and here. Like just shooting your shot. Because the worst that's gonna happen is they're gonna say no, right? So you can approach those venues. If you need a little shot of courage to do so, go for it. If you're already in a band, you already have enough nerve and courage to get up and perform in front of strangers, right? So I think you can handle talking to one or two other people about, hey, I would love to do this thing. I've also been told that I am, in so many words, a golden retriever boyfriend. I've been extroverted. I've been willing to do that kind of thing since high school with other bands that I have been in. Just going to the Batavia Teen Center one day, being like, "Hi, I'm in a band. How can I perform here?" And they're like, "Oh, great!" And we just like decided a date right there. It really can just be that. Depending on how many bandmates you have and what your goals are, so like if you're trying to make money or not, I think that would also be a factor. My bandmates and I don't really care about making a ton of money or getting famous or anything like that, but other people, they are trying to grow, maybe not grow their brand, but like expand their network and want to perform in bigger and better places, right? So
I will just give
does
some.
that answer your question?
I would say there's a bit of a good answer in that, plus more.
I will give context to
Okay.
Reggie's real quick. I've seen Petite League at Reggie's, and if I had gone Thursday, Blind Equation would have been there. So those are two bands in Chicago, or Blind Equation in Chicago, Petite League's in New York, but two bands that we have covered that have played there. So Reggie's is a fairly big deal.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I would, obviously, venues play music as they can. I would say that's a pretty varied kind of genre mashup that happens in there, with just 3 different nights going from garage pop to cybergrind to ska. None of them kind of clash. But I was kind of more comparing to venues that you would say would be kind of which is still answered by that question, but more directly dedicated to ska. Like we used to have venues in Sydney that would be kind of dedicated to jazz or country, which unfortunately, due to fucking the owners and property developers in this fucking city, have since closed down. But
Mm.
it seems like there's at least a lot more of a livelihood happening for the underground scenes there in Chicago, which is nice. Chicks,
Yeah,
I'm
I
throwing the
can't
next
think of
question on you, by the way. Sorry,
Okay.
I was
please
just gonna
finish,
say I can't
RJ.
think of
Yeah.
something specific for ska. I've seen ska bands from like a bar that is dog friendly that my sister and I have gone to multiple times, to like huge venues like House of Blues or at Riot Fest. So
Right.
like me in particular, in my personal experience, I've seen ska in just about literally any eye level. I don't know what the meter ratio is. I stand at 5'4", without any shoes on. So I'm 5'5" on a good day if I wear my boots. So
I guess
accurate.
my question would be, do you have a dream piece of gear?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question one more time?
Do you have a like dream piece of gear that you've been looking
Oh,
for years, or just in
you
general?
know, I am not the biggest like gearhead, at least for like my own possessions. I I admire like a beautiful amp or something like that. So like a really big orange brand cabinet, I think is like lovely to look at. Um, I, I the last piece of gear I bought was like a new cord for my bass guitar. Like I
Gotcha.
have very humble pieces of gear. I have one acoustic guitar, one electric, and one bass guitar. One line 6, I believe it's 30 watts, something like that. Not the smallest, so like a very humble sized guitar amp that has just a couple settings to play around with, and then I have a very big and beefy Fender bass amp. By pure
Nice.
coincidence, some of my bandmates happen to have that same exact amp, so if there's a song that I play bass for, I just plug into their amp. I don't have to lug it from the city. Thank
That's wonderful.
God. It's very heavy.
Yeah, bass
But
amps,
a dream
not
a dream piece of gear, I think more for me would be like more for recording stuff at home. I could not find it for this interview. I have one of those snowball
Mhm.
microphones.
I have
I
one
don't know.
too.
It has to exist somewhere in this apartment. I was digging around my closet and most of my possessions. I could not find it. So maybe I loaned it to somebody. I truly don't know where it went, but that was like my nicer microphone. But I figured my gaming mic would be okay because it's relatively isolated sound. But anyway,
You sound pretty crisp,
something
so
for like, oh, great, fantastic. So for gear, it would be more of, um, like something to help me record at home. I love working with Ryan at Bird Garden Studios. He is amazing. He captures my vision so well, which sounds like such a pretentious BS kind of thing to say, but it is true. He and I are such fans of each other's music and have been friends since high school. So it helps that like we are on a very similar wavelength when I come into the studio, and I love working with him. But to answer your question of gear, maybe like if not a mic, maybe like a drum pad or like a MIDI keyboard that I could connect to my computer.
Yeah.
I have just like a basic laptop, so I don't have a lot when it comes to tech in general. My video game collection is probably more impressive than my music gear collection or even like my computer. So, way to do.
Gotcha.
Now, before we get into the next question, Dominic, I assume you recorded with sound on your end as well, right?
yes.
Yeah, good. Because otherwise, apologies if any of the sound came from my mic recently. There were two wankers just outside there, absolutely gunning their motorbikes without any mufflers.
I didn't hear anything, so we're good
So
on that.
But I can know that just picked up completely on my OBS.
I live by the police station, so you might hear sirens at some point.
No, I live by a fire
I live
station.
in the city.
Yeah, exactly. How many times have I muted my mic to let the fire trucks pass?
We've been lucky so far. I live right off of a main drag in the city. And
I live
I guess we're doing this
downtown.
early enough. I'm not quite downtown, but I can see Sears Tower from my apartment.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm in a
I mean,
much
it's a big
smaller
building.
city,
You can
though.
see Sears Tower from pretty far away. You can, if you're high up enough in the burbs, you can see Sears Tower.
This is
But
true, yes.
on a clear day, I can see the sky deck where people can go and take photos. So it's pretty clear today. So I don't know. Maybe if I feel inspired after this, I'll take photos and legit will like circle and be like, I can see my house from here because I know I'll be able to see my house from Sears Tower. I can see it from here. I can see it from there.
Speaking of your game collection, what are you playing lately?
I haven't played a ton of games lately because a lot of my energy has either gone to music stuff or work stuff. I've been working a lot of overtime, but I have this sounds very silly. I have a free version of Plants vs. Zombies on my phone. So if I have to wait a long time somewhere, like say I'm getting an oil change or I'm waiting a long time at a doctor's office, that's what I'll play on my phone. I love that game. I think it's like simple to learn and possible to master because there's all these different strategies to play, and I think it's just the right amount of like silly, but there's still like I don't want to die uh, to it. Um, I do I do have one video game just off camera. I have Tony Hawk American
Yes.
Wasteland on
Well,
GameCube,
Yes.
and this
We
is truly
ironically need to cover that soundtrack one day, Dominic.
We do.
so
Yeah,
good.
specifically to this one.
Yeah, I played the
Yes,
DS version, and that was very instrumental to my tastes, too.
I have also
yes.
played the GBA version.
There's a
I
lot
haven't.
of great Tony Hawk games,
Yes.
but this one is my personal favorite. It might be I don't want to completely. I know she's going to listen to this, so I won't speak for her, but I'm going to wager either this or Tony Hawk Underground 2 is her favorite. We played a lot of these games together, messing with each other, trying to play like King of the Hill or just doing wacky character creators and building crazy skate parks and whatnot, and listening to great music. So, like, unironically, that's one of my favorite video games, and that particular soundtrack was very much to me right place, right time. It even
Yes.
says on the back right here, it says exclusive soundtrack featuring My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and Taking Back Sunday, covering punk classics. That
Wow.
particular EP does exist in physical form, but is also a playlist like on YouTube and Spotify.
I
I
have
listen
the
to it probably
soundtrack
once a week at
CD.
work.
I don't know where I
Yeah,
put it, but I do have it on there.
He
And
yeah.
does.
I
I'll never
really
personally,
forget.
want
I believe
to.
that My Chemical Romance cover of Astro Zombies is the best My
Yes.
Chemical Romance song.
Ooh, it's
Yeah.
up there for me. It is up there for sure. Um, I really want to do Census Fails cover version of Institutionalized for like emo karaoke one day.
Mm.
I have unironically referenced it to my sister and my spouse at minor inconveniences, being like, all I wanted was a Pepsi, and she wouldn't give it to me, like just so good. Oh, and then it doesn't matter. I'll probably get hit by a car anyway. Like just Dear Diary, like so good. I love it unironically. So like yeah, Tony Hawk, American Wasteland, one of my all-time favorite video games. Great soundtrack. Definitely relevant to this conversation of like influential music and
Yes.
bands and whatnot too. There's not a ton of what you would consider ska in some of those soundtracks, although Less Than Jake, All My Best Friends Are Metalheads is featured in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, I believe.
And that's why they call it in Unions and Fug 2 as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in one of the newer ones, Bomb to Drop is featured. There's a couple, obviously Superman by Goldfinger from
Yeah.
the original Pro Skater game. A lot of
And
people,
Spokesman.
yes, Spokesman as well.
I cannot
Um,
let anybody not appreciate Spokesman. I think that is up there with
Oh
Superman.
no, I definitely do,
Mhm.
but I was just gonna say for Superman, a lot of people like on social media, if you're referencing ska or skateboarding, That's usually the go-to, like first draft pick kind of
Yes.
situation. Because
Yeah.
just that excellent intro, like the really tightly wound ska drum roll, and then like the classic. Like, that's a very good example of like ska guitar in general too. Like if we had to break down and really go through music theory, I think that would be a good like quote unquote modern example of how to perform ska guitar in particular, especially because there's so many changes. Because you have the up and down strokes, you have some distortion, you even have the clean strumming of individual strings at the very end of doing the arpeggios of the chords he's playing at the very, very end of the song. So it's really good to like break it down like that if anybody wants to be a music theory nerd like that. Just that differentiation. You don't think about it until you start breaking it down. So, yeah. American Wasteland, to answer your question.
I'll never forget
Good
Christmas
choice.
05.
Domino, I just want to hold
Yeah.
on. There is just one counter argument for Thug 2 and 4, is that PSP exclusive Thug 2 remix, which had the Tony Hawk's American Wasteland levels in Thug 2.
Yes.
That was an old time.
I just want to say Christmas 05 was a huge year for me because I was so set on getting American Wasteland for Christmas on the GameCube. And then I saw a commercial for Shadow the Hedgehog. And I said, I want that one instead.
Oh my god.
And that was the wrong choice to make.
I got American Wasteland and Super Monkey Ball the same year.
I have incredible news for you guys. I have the original receipt inside the
Oh,
box.
lovely.
Oh, hell yeah.
Is that the only thing you got?
So it was at the GameStop at 7044 North Wayne Road, Westland, Michigan. So right outside of where I lived in the Detroit area. We bought this game October 19th, 2005. So I
Damn.
got it just before you, Dom. I happened to jump the gun on that. The game was $50 before taxes.
Yes.
We used some of like my store credit and game bucks and whatnot to like, get some discounts on it. But like just like the grand total before all the discounts, including taxes at the time, $52.99 for
Wow.
this game. And I think for investment's sake, I think I got my money's worth.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it one of the Tony Hawks on the Xbox is actually skyrocketed in price because they found out you could hack the Xbox from it?
I would imagine that sounds correct.
Yeah, it was on the Creator Park editor. You could fuck that up with a memory card or something, and you could use it to hack your Xbox.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
So like all the Tony Hawk's games on Xbox just skyrocketed. We also have a friend that made the Cars video game skyrocket. But...
Did he really make the Cars video game skyrocket?
Yeah, yes. Pete made the Cars video game price skyrocket because I remember when we did the CEX run with him, and it was like $5 the first time, and then like a month after the Cars video kind of like had broken out, it was like $30.
Amazing.
I like to think that you're raising the price of Revenge of the Sith, Domino.
Yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal. Make that game prohibitively expensive for no reason. Capitalism, baby.
This is really the first time I'm hearing about this. So like,
so I collect copies of the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith game on like PlayStation 2, Xbox, DS, and Game Boy Advance for no reason other than just to see if I can drive the price up.
I hope you realize how monopoly
and
capitalism works.
Because like it's a game that'll probably not get re-released on like an HD collection thing. It's probably the last time we've seen it come out somewhere. I think it was on like PlayStation 3 and Xbox or whatever, but you know. Anyway, it's a stupid little side gag I have going.
Oh, I'm here for it. I'm just still in like a stunned silence of like I did not know anything about like that Xbox thing. This is truly the first time I'm hearing about it, so I'm just like processing in real time. So I'm making faces. I'm hamming it up a little bit, but they are genuine.
There's also a PC version, but that's more of one of those activity center collection things. So I kind of have some of those, but I don't really collect those as much because it's not the same. But getting back to the music, you are working on a follow up to Thanks to Friends of
Yes.
Friends. Can you tell us what's going on there and what you're thinking with it?
Sure. Yeah. So we have I lost count. I think it's as it stands right now, 7 original songs. It's either 7 or 8, something like that. I just the past couple weeks um did a couple sessions at Bird Garden Studios where we did the entirety of the first album, where we're doing the entirety of the second one. Um so I just had a few sessions recording um the chronologically oldest song that will be on this album, and just like giving it so much love and new life. It has been very cathartic listening to our demo. I'm very much the kind of musician that does not like the sound of their own singing voice, which is unfortunate because I sing a lot on the album. So but it was very cool, like listening to it all come together, because like I've been just like with the first album, certain songs I had been performing some of these songs for a long time, just me and my guitar and singing the horn lines when I was not singing lyrics. So, for example, PT Loser, the ba 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 da, I'm singing that. I'm playing it on my guitar, and now all the horns are playing it at the same time. So it's like this very cool, like fully fleshed out version. Same with Kesha in my car. I did not witness this at the time, but my sister was telling me at the album release show that Dom was at, she was like freaking out to whatever friend happened to be in proximity of her. Like, I'll use Snorlax here. This is what it was supposed to sound like this whole time. Like, she felt like the same like enthusiasm and catharsis as I did when we did our dress rehearsal. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's never ever lost on me that like I have such cool and talented musician friends that are making my music so much bigger and better than what it had been for a long time. And I'm grateful for like the people that were, like a fan of me, I guess, when it was just me and my guitar. I'm grateful for that as well. But oh my gosh, it's so much better with a full band. Like, to me anyway. Maybe some people prefer when it was just me and my guitar. And like, if someone needs a soloist to open for your gig, call me up. I have stuff I only play when I'm a soloist. So anyway, the second album is going to be called Common Fluke. I'm still not sure what the album art will be just yet, because the first one is a photo of my late grandmother from like 1972. So I don't know if it's going to be like a photo of my cat who passed away recently, or if it's going to be like my other grandparents, or just some other photo that I end up taking right before we release the album. It's not the biggest concern, but we at least have a name. We have a couple tracks for it. I'm really excited about it. I think it's more, I think the elements of like the original album of like emo angsty lyrics has been amped up. I think the pop punk guitar parts have been amped up. And I think the ska horn parts have been amped up. So I'm truly hoping people get the impression of like bigger and better, but not overblown or not overproduced. Because we really try, Ryan and I, we try really hard when we're putting together the horn arrangements to still capture what I'm going for, but make it physically possible. For one of the tracks on the first album, trombone originally was supposed to follow a bass line that I was playing. But once Joey V came in the studio, and there is a video of this exact conversation up on Instagram, he's explaining to me, he's like, I can only go here to here, but I can't do what you're telling me. So it was good to have a real horn player in there being like, physically impossible. We have to make some arrangements. So we're trying to be better about that part of it, the physicality. But
Mhm.
when I'm writing the horn parts, it's very much like, well, I don't play the horn parts, but I have to breathe just as much. So if I remember to stop and breathe during certain lines, that will translate, because Ryan plays keys. So sometimes he just holds a note for way too long. And I have to be like, Ryan, you have to breathe. He's like, oh, right, rest note. then it goes back. So very silly sometimes, but yeah, that's kind of how we do it. Yeah, I'm not sure if we're done yet with the tracks. There's still one more track that we might add on before we finally finalize everything. So everything right now exists as demo. So it's not live horns, it's like keyboard
Mhm.
horn parts, but they're very passable and like computer drums that we put together on a drum pad. But it really is me playing the guitar, singing, and playing the bass parts on those demos. So very good foundation to start with. So at least now we have sheet music. So we've performed some of these newer songs live. And have been able to feel out, oh, what changes do we want to make for the album version as opposed to live version? Whatever changes we have to make, we're kind of making in real time because there's not really a timeline for the album release because so much of this is self-funded and self-produced and very DIY. So we don't necessarily have a timeline for the release, but basically whenever I work overtime or tax refund or birthday money or whatever, that's really the only opportunity I get to fund that kind of project because like I don't have a record deal or anything. I know Ryan would sign me if he had enough money to do such a thing, but neither of us are in that position financially. So it's very much, well, whenever we have the time, effort, and money, you need all three, that's when we do a new track, or that's when we'll be able to start tracking the drum parts. And I know Quentin will knock it out of the park whenever we get him in the studio for that. But we don't do that until essentially everything that we want to record for the album's ready to go. And there's still one more track that I want to get in there, but it's a shorter one. So I hope it won't take too long. Once we do that, we'll track the drums. Once the drums are done, we start adding all the other instruments. So there's no timeline for it, but we have a really good foundation for this second album, and very excited to just share it with the world. And that's me talking.
Jix, I'm going to throw the next question on you.
I'm drawing a blank. Hold up.
I'll go some. I'll
For a
follow
long
up.
time. I can just space out.
I'll follow up if
Go
you'd
for
like.
it.
Do you find that playing the songs live as you are still like kind of tracking them and kind of figuring out, do they kind of help refine what those songs are? And you have any examples of like how they've changed?
Yeah, for sure. There's one song that I wrote called Peggy that we've performed quite a bit live now. We at the album release show you were at, Dom, we didn't have horn parts for it yet. It was just guitar, bass, and drums. I can't remember if Caldwell was playing keys on that particular performance or not, but like I was singing the horn parts then. And now that we have horn parts, I again still find myself sometimes singing along with the horns just out of habit. So we're basically deciding, okay, do we want to make this like on the album like dang vocals where like it's a lot of people singing along with the horns, or do we want the horns to shine? So we're still on the fence about that, but that kind of has evolved since we started performing that particular track. There's like with PT Loser, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to break the habit of singing along that horn part. I think that's just going to stay forever. But with some of these newer ones, we're figuring out, well, if we have all our horns, because sometimes one person can't make it to our particular gig, so I try to fill in the gaps, or if Ryan is performing with his guitar, he can fill in the gaps and fill out that sound nicely. But if both Ryan and a horn player are unavailable, then I'm happy to, exhaust myself and sing the horn parts, breathe for 2 seconds, and go back to singing the lyrics. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go. I'll take up my question. Do you have a favorite Arizona flavor, like the teas?
Oh, like Arizona iced tea.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? I bought some last night. There's a blueberry tea that's really good. I
Blueberry
very much
white
have a
tea?
sweet tooth. Yeah, the blueberry white tea.
Yes, that's my
That
favorite.
one's up there for me. That one's really good. The classic Arnold Palmer too, the one that's like 90 cents or whatever. When it's cold
Mhm.
and I'm over it after having an excruciating ordeal that is grocery shopping at the Jewel, that's usually my little treat for surviving. Um, so yeah, that would be up there. There was another one I had that's like a firecracker one that's like a fruit cocktail.
Uh,
I had it during the summer and it was wicked good, but so sugary. So like I either need to cut it with a bunch of ice or maybe make it into some like crazy mocktail or cocktail because
Mhm.
it's very sweet on its own straight out of the can. Definitely need to cut it with something. Otherwise, it feels like I'm very aware of my teeth and how they are
Yeah,
deteriorating from the sugar content, you know?
yeah.
I don't get that with like regular Arnold Palmer or that blueberry tea, but with like
mm.
that particular firecracker one, it was
Mhm.
like this is delicious, but I know it's not great for me. I'm
Yeah.
aware of it. I don't want to be aware of it. Let me be blissfully ignorant.
I hear people say that stuff
Oh
about
yeah.
like Coke and stuff as well. I've not personally experienced that like teeth feeling, but I've heard it through other sugary drinks. That's also why I do zero
Bagel
sugar.
fan.
I've had it with chocolate.
Interesting.
Depends on the
Mm.
chocolate, but I've had
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
experience. It's usually too many Skittles for me, and I love Skittles.
I'll go next on this one. So what have you been listening to recently outside of the Ska sphere?
Good question. It's a lot of like skate punk and ska for me, just in general, because most of the time when I'm listening to music, it's at work and I need that higher energy stuff. Um, oh no, you know what? The other day at work, I was listening to more pop punk stuff. So like The Story So Far, Knuckle Puck, who are from Chicago, Neck Deep, who are from England. I'm pretty sure that part of UK. Oh my god, I hope I got that
I
right.
can't correct you on that one. I've only know Neck Deep by name.
Okay. So like I was listening to like that realm of pop punk fairly recently. And then what was it last night? My spouse and I put on La Mega on the radio. So it was like Spanish speaking like DJ club music because it was a Friday night. So
Hell yeah.
to just get us to and from Whole Foods, that's what we were listening to. So I really listen to kind of like the same couple genres over and over again for better or worse. I'm trying to be better about that, but I just really like the stuff that I like. So it's kind of hard to
That's
break
that's
outside of
fair.
that.
I think that's at least a bit of proof that you're into ska if all you mostly listen to is ska or adjacent. So that might
Yeah,
be probably one of the best advertisements you can do for your band, to be honest.
I guess so.
Do you have any other local ska bands that you're into?
Oh, sure. Bumsy and the Moochers. They're the first ones to come to mind. I saw them at Subterranean like 15 years ago. So like around the time that we were in Youth Outlook together, I saw them and they're still doing the damn thing. Um, so I saw them. My trumpet player, Becky, is in a ska band. They're Madison based, but they come play Chicago a lot. They're actually playing Milwaukee the day that we're recording this. Their band is called Mezcales. It is almost all Spanish lyrics, but the music rocks and is um, closer to oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I am blanking on like the name of the genre of Spanish speaking music, but the bum ba 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 like the more like groovy, not quite second wave. I maybe reggaeton is the best way to describe it, but like that boom chup, 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 that kind of feel. They have songs like that, but then they have the more punky stuff. So like we were talking about covering Misfits earlier, they do a almost Spanish entirely version of not as yes, Astro Zombies. Monster Zombies, and then so oh god. It's really bothering me. I can't remember the name of like the specific
I have no
genre
idea.
that they're
I cannot
based
help
off
you.
Yeah,
of.
this is where
I
my
feel
whiteness comes
horrible.
into play, and I just don't know. Apologies.
I don't
Oh
know
my
either.
gosh, I feel terrible that I am blanking. I made sure to like remember bands, but I couldn't remember the genre. Well, anyway, they're great. So please look up Bumsy and the Moochers and Mescales. Some other friends of mine that aren't necessarily ska but do play ska songs is My Dad's Boat, which has quite a few of my bandmates. They're a cover band, but imagine like pet bands playing your favorite rock hits. So like they did Domino by Van Morrison when we played a show together, and it was a lovely time with the pop, but da 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 pop pop ba ba da with the baritone sax and trombone. It was lovely, loved it. So those are a couple bands that would come to mind. I know there's more. I'm just not familiar enough to like pop them out of my head. So I apologize to any of them that are listening this far in at the approximately 1 hour mark, and I forgot your names. I have
56
not been
minutes,
awake very
apologies.
long, and I've had 0 caffeine today so far.
You're doing great.
So please still be my friend.
So for every artist that they did not mention, please, in the comments, just write down your name, go fuck you, and then just I'll leave a like. It'll be fine. Everyone will see it.
And that's
There we
directed
go.
at us, not
Like
RJ,
and
at the show
comment.
specifically.
Oh
No,
my God.
all
Yeah,
four of us.
All 4 of us, sure.
I'm sorry, RJ. You're a part of it now. Every fuck you in the comments is shared equally. We have made sure of that from the start of this podcast.
No, I mean Mayday was not to date this video completely. Mayday was yesterday, so I'm here for like unity. So if my fuck up is everyone's fuck up, so be it.
Hell yeah.
We can swear, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Please.
Okay.
We haven't.
I've been trying to be like as radio friendly as possible, just in case. So hopefully that's like my only two.
I don't think we have enough listeners or viewers for advertisements to have ever mattered. So don't worry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I still try.
It's basically say anything but slurs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's bad. Sometimes I say the F slur like to like mess with my spouse, but it's very much again like at minor inconveniences. And only at our house, not in public or anything like that. Or the more safe version is if somebody like, I don't know, like cuts us in line, or if somebody runs a stop sign and be like, this is so homophobic towards me and my spouse, really in front of my salad, like that kind of energy. I try not to say it too much though, but every now and then to get a rise out of my spouse, I might say it.
I mean, who hasn't gone to the gay club with the gay friends or at a gay party and just casually call each other an F slur just because you just want to like
I try
feel
not
something?
to. It's a bad habit that I broke a long time ago, and I don't want to get back into it. So
I'll explain this one without saying a word. But the best usage of it. So are you familiar with the camping equipment called the swag?
the
It is-
swag, SWAG.
Yeah, it is basically like a small tent that you basically like. It's enough to sleep in. And
Yes.
at a camping event for a festival that I was at, there were a couple of different people who were gay, and they took this guy wanted a selfie of all of them right in front of the swag, and then
Yeah.
captioned it with the most beautiful rhyming
I
rhyme
got
you can
it.
do there.
Yeah.
I got it. Once I spelt it out loud, I'm like, oh, I know where this is going. Yeah, so something like that is kind of the vein. If I ever say it, it's usually something like that. But that being said, I'm really trying not to use it. Am I allowed to? Sure. But it's still like I don't want to say it in the wrong place by accident and then get into hot water.
Sure.
Yeah.
One question I've been figuring out how to fit it in. I'm sure we can just do it now. How do you differentiate between the ways of ska? Like, what's the demarcation? Like, what's the What do you look for?
So part of it is just like chronological order. So first wave, you would argue, is like Jamaican reggae and like the Skylights. You could even argue Bob Marley, that because that is essentially where ska started, was Jamaica. And then two tone is like the second wave. So we're talking late 70s, early 80s in England, and it's a good mix of punk, because you have to remember, like, at that same time is the era of anarchy in the UK, Sex Pistols. So like you have like that grittier guitar tone, but then you have keys, you have several horns most of the time, except the specials for most of their songs, notably, even though a lot of people point to them being an original two-tone band. I should clarify why it's called two-tone. So that was a name of the recording studio, that era, that kind of thing. So like your black and white checkerboard, but it was also very literal with like racial unity. So it was black people and white people coming together during like this time of like all these changes culturally and everything like that. So like just that racial unity in a very literal sense is very important for like the roots, especially since ska as we know it originated in Jamaica by black people. We have to remember rock and roll was also invented by black people too, the way that we know it. So I want to make sure I acknowledge that part. And then third wave is more of your classic 90s. So we're talking Real Big Fish. We're talking early Less Than Jake, Mighty Mighty Boss Stones, that kind of era. So more to do with like rock or even pop rock or pop punk, depending, what song or what band you're looking at. So Less Than Jake is huge influence for me. The album for Metalheads is like an excellent album start to finish and has what I feel is a good variety of ska, but isn't so much like the slower or more like, how do I put it, festival vibes. If you want something like that, the like good vibes kind of feel, Big D and the Kids Table would be an excellent example. They have a little bit more reggae vibe to them. They have done a couple covers. So like they did a cover of the Specials at one point. And then some people argue there's a fourth wave now. Sure. If we just like counting 1, 2, 3, 4, since we're all doing rock and roll, of course, why not? So that is kind of just the more varied stuff. So we have Bad Operation, that is a good blend of like that pop punk like production, but still has like keys and can be a little bit more of the minor keys, or even if it's more in a major key of like taking it slower or faster, a really good variety. I have a band t-shirt of them just off camera actually. And then you have stuff like Ska Network. I love their work. So
Yes.
Ska Network is a YouTube channel, but also like a music artist
A
that
movement,
does
really.
a lot of essentially like ska covers of pop songs or pop punk songs. So literally right before we started recording, because I have the YouTube notifications for that particular artist, they just dropped it. Have not listened to it yet. A cover of Sum 41. So I'm really excited to hear that. But
Which Sum
they,
41 song? Because that's gonna determine if I get to listen to it.
they've done Into Deep, and that one was fantastic. That's one of my favorites.
Please be makes no
Um,
difference.
they do need to do Makes No Difference, especially since there's two different versions, and one version is more, in my opinion, more ska, lends itself more to ska. Where is it? Yep, Fat Lip. So
Yeah,
that was
expected. Yeah.
just before we started recording. I just made sure to have my phone within my reach in case I needed to pull out something. So, yeah. So
See, I
it's
would
kind of
argue
like,
something like
oh, you
Motivation
know
could do
what?
a really good ska song.
I want to shout out Kill Lincoln, and I want to shout out KbaH as well for like this fourth wave. So KbaH is more like keys heavy, not so much horn heavy, and then Kill Lincoln is so cool with like combining like the attitude of like pop punk and even like sometimes hardcore because their vocalist can do a couple screams. But then have like these great horn lines. So I want to make sure I shout them out as well, especially for like this fourth wave or newest wave. And I don't know, I'm somewhere between 3 and 4. I don't know.
I mean,
'Cause
I
some of
would
my songs I
argue
wrote
waves anyway, kind of
chronologically.
just yeah. I was gonna say waves kind of more define a time
Yeah.
more than they do a sound anyway. Because there's a
Mhm.
lot of artists, you know, we mostly focus on emo when it comes to knowing the waves and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And fifth wave is definitely a lot more varied, where you can see a lot more kind of fourth wave and stuff. But you see, you know, a bunch of those artists still described as fifth wave no matter what, just because it is that period of time.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt on that.
No, it's a good point. So that's why I'm like, I don't know where I land, man. Some of the songs on the album I wrote when Dom and I were in high school, and other songs I wrote like while recording the album, which is what happened just a few weeks ago. So like, I don't know, man.
You're the and when we count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Truly, yes,
Yes.
I am your non-binary ampersand. You know, like somebody's got to do it.
Trix, you have a question?
Do you have like a dream venue you'd want to perform?
I mean, I am really excited to play Reggie's. I loved playing Cubby Bear, and I'm glad we're going back in September. Um, I don't know. I think like someday, like Riot Fest would be really cool because I could just take the bus there. I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't because of my equipment, but just like the idea of, oh, I'm gonna perform at this like world famous festival, and I'm just gonna take the bus to get there. I
What
think would be really funny.
What if you like went
I,
You
in
I've
know?
with
seen
some of the
artists take
locals?
the bus.
What if you went in with some of the locals and rented a bus to go to Riot Fest?
Oh, like a party
Ooh.
bus.
But it could look like a real bus, but yeah, just to get the feeling. But you all go in together on it.
I don't know if you can rent a CTA bus, and I've never thought about it, but I could look into it. No, because like I don't live terribly far from where it's hosted, so I don't know, man. I would probably just take that particular bus as far as I could, and then once it gets too crazy, just hoof it the rest of the way.
Fair enough.
Like the everyday people, you know.
Mhm.
The Riot Fest would be really cool, or something like that would be really neat. But I'm well aware that I have a very small but loyal following. So I don't know. I think a reasonable next step would be playing Remova, which is walking distance from Bernice's Tavern and across the street from another bar that I frequent, Electric Funeral. Fun fact, my great grandmother used to own and operate that bar. My
Wow.
spouse claims that her
Wow.
spirit is still there. I have not had that experience, but I always say hi when I go to the bathroom because my mom has told me that that general area of the building is where her grandmother's apartment used to be. So it's always great going with my mom and like making sure to ask her questions of like what was it like when your grandmother was running this place, that kind of thing. So anyway, I think Remova or like a theater setting like that would be a very cool and reasonable next step, especially because it's gorgeous in there. It's iconic. Definitely representing, South side of Chicago would be cool. But Riot Fest, I mean, that would be awesome. Doing something like that would be very, very cool. I'm trying to think. It's too bad the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit no longer stands as I remember it because that would be cool. That was the the venue where I saw my first like big rock show. I saw Rise Against open for My Chemical Romance.
Wow.
So that
Hell
would have been
yeah.
like a cool like full circle kind of thing. But I don't know. Oh, you know what? The Fox Theater in Detroit. That would be a dream. That is a very cool historic venue. That uh um, Jack White of the White Stripes, like he's just done so much for the city of Detroit and the music scene. So like there are like
Mhm.
Third Man Records playing a show there. I should have said this at the top. So I don't. As much as I am a Chicagoan, I always have to show love and respect for Detroit. That is where I first learned how to play guitar. That's where my family and I lived during my formative years of my life. So I always make sure to say, really, like, yeah, I'm from Chicago, but there's a reason why on the merch it says Midwest USA, because my beginning as a musician truly started in Detroit. So I always need to shout out Detroit, some love, respect, that kind of thing for sure. Go Red Wings. They missed the playoffs again. It's a nightmare. Anyway, hopefully that answers your question.
It does.
Okay, great.
Shall we go
So,
into you
I was
ask.
going to say, Dominic, did you have any major questions left?
I mean, I could keep going, but I feel like now would probably be a good time for quick fire questions.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of hinting at as well. So RJ, probably for the next couple minutes here, we're gonna just ask quick questions. You have given pretty detailed answers, so it feels kind of counterintuitive to say give a short, just on the top of your head kind of answer. Because it's the complete opposite of it. But yeah, just first kind of response, we'll just kind of keep going fire and fire
Got it.
till we decide we're done. So I'll start it off. You mentioned your first rock show was Rise Against. Was that the first concert that you ever saw?
Generally speaking, yes, unless you count like the teenagers in the house behind me were playing in their garage.
That always counts. That's where everyone gets started.
Okay.
Always, 100%.
What's your favorite
That was my
Calissa?
first show, was a garage show. I'm sorry?
What's your favorite Calissa Explains It All episode?
Oh, maybe the one that they are talking about, like Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam, is such a time capsule, but so good.
What is your favorite color?
Blue.
Which is the better song from Homestar Runner, Trogdor or Because It's Midnight?
I'm gonna say Trogdor only because it was featured on Guitar Hero.
Fuck you, Trix.
As I said, I have no attachment to Homestar Runner.
Clarissa or Secret of Alex Mack?
Alex Mack. Hot take. Alex Mack was a big part of my queer awakening as well.
What would you name the next Tony Hawk game with the story mode?
Hot game with story mode. Well, because they already did Ride, they already did Shred. Something to do with kickflip. I'm not sure. Either something to do with kickflip, or if it's city specific, like American Wasteland. The dream is like Chicago or Detroit, of course. So like maybe like Windy City Rec. You know,
Hell yeah.
the WRECK.
Mhm.
Excluding the whole missions that are in the maps, what is your, and just in terms of skating, what is your favorite individual map in Tony Hawk all series?
American Wasteland, Santa Monica. Shortly after, a few years after I went to actual Santa Monica, I went on the actual famous Ferris wheel with my dad and got to point out that's where this trick happens. That's where this thing happens. Oh, that one.
Secret of Alex Mack or 90s Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Those are hard-hitting questions. Oh man. I think I gotta go Sabrina. It's same actress, thank God.
Yes.
Melissa Joan Hart seems like a lovely lady. Yeah.
Just yeah, don't
it's-
research the personal life on that one.
Oh man, so good. They're both so good, but 90s Sabrina, because Salem.
Yeah, of course.
Dream travel destination.
I've already been to Lithuania. So I don't know, somewhere else where they speak English, because I don't know a lot of other languages. So either the UK or Australia. Yay!
You should play Australia.
Love to.
I'm sure we have Ska here. I'm sure. Favorite Pokemon?
It's right here.
I wanted to see the Snorlax again. Snorlax is adorable.
Yeah, Snorlax. Also, shout out to Poliwhirl and Arcanine. I'm Gen 1 all the way.
Hell yeah. Is your window open by chance?
No, it's closed, but there's a tree that keeps bumping into it. I can't control the tree.
I will
I thought the
let you.
lens flare effect was beautiful when we get it.
Yes.
Oh, no, I just have I almost always have my blinds closed, but I wanted to have natural light for this since we're having visual. And it's fairly sunny here today in Chicago, but every now and then, a cloud rolls by.
It
So
will look a little
now the
weird
sun's
when you
beating
see
back
it,
out.
but it'll be fine.
I figured the natural lighting would be better than like my bright overhead light. I guess it's not too late if you guys want me to put that on.
No.
But
You just know that
that's
sometimes
fine.
it'll look like a supernova's happening in the background, and then sometimes it'll get really dark, and then it'll just even out.
sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's
I
the
can't
fun.
control the weather.
It's the fun. I'm just letting you know
Spike
now, so
media.
that when you see it, it's like, oh my god, what happened? It's just the way the
My
world
positive
wanted it to
energy is
be.
Right.
Yes.
All right. I thought that was like part of your rapid
That was
fire.
my question.
Should I finish it off with the last question?
Sure.
Yeah, I think we're here.
All right. So what is your ideal sandwich?
With drink.
Okay.
Yes, with drink.
I want to give you a brief answer, but I need to ask
You
one
can
This
follow-up
one
question.
this one you can go off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
the last one.
So I live with a gluten-free vegan. So we don't have a lot of meat in my house. So most of what I make is at least vegetarian friendly since my sister comes over often as well. She lives on the south side. So most of what I make is vegetarian friendly. So sandwich I made yesterday was sourdough bread, arugula, it's either white or red onion, whatever onion we have in the house, very thinly sliced. A couple red cherry tomatoes sliced, either quarters or halves, depending on the size. Balsamic vinegar, either avocado oil or olive oil, salt, black pepper, and goat cheese. It could be plain, otherwise the honey blossom one is really good. And I squish it all together and I demolish it. It takes so long to build it and not a lot of time for me to eat it. So that's one of my ideal sandwiches outside of if you consider a burger a sandwich, then that's a different conversation. But
A burger is a sandwich, I'd say.
okay, well then that's its own build, right? But if we're talking just a classic like lunch sandwich, that is what I made for myself for lunch before I went to work yesterday.
Hell yeah. But what are you drinking with it?
Yesterday I was drinking water and then I had coincidentally it was a blueberry iced tea, but because it was like from the kettle and then once it's steeped a proper amount of time, I put in a couple huge ice cubes. I work a blue collar job. I cannot drink any alcohol before or during work because I drive a forklift and operate heavy machinery. So I have to find some pleasant alternative before I go to work. So usually like
I work
iced
at a
tea.
bar, so
Okay, well, okay.
a little different.
Now, I must
Yes, it
say,
is.
I really hope that at the next Kicked by a Hand gig that Dominic's at, he gets as excited as he was just then for you drinking that blueberry Arizona tea at one of your songs, because that was the true getting hyped at us.
The joy. I love the joy. Well,
If
I can tell you when our
Dominic
next shows
doesn't-
are. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
If Dominic does not get as excited as that, call him
What am
out
I doing here?
during the gig.
Oh my god. Well, luckily he towers over so many people, so it'll
But
be easy.
This is a good segue because yes, promote your gigs.
Yes, I made sure to write them down. So, at the time of recording, this is our next show, but if you're saying that this episode will be released at the end of May, the show will have already happened. So maybe
This
I'll
will
have a
probably go
photo
out
for you guys to
the
put up at
22nd
this
or
point.
something, or the 21st.
Oh, it's gonna be right after this. Okay, so at least at time of recording, our next upcoming show is May 16th in Freeport, Illinois. It's near the Rockford area. We are performing with Flaccid Pickle and Lob and Robbins to fundraise the local theater. It's one of the oldest running theaters in the country, so it is so cool to be a part of something that can like bring people together. So very happy about that. Road trip for us, since we've only played gigs as a full band in the city of Chicago. It's our first time playing as a full band outside of the big city, so we're very excited for that. After that is July 9th. We're playing at Reggie's, like I was mentioning. There are tickets on sale already. I'll send you guys a link to like put in the caption or something after this. August, not sure where the venue is, but August 22nd will be my friend's birthday party house show. So whenever I find out the venue for that, everybody else will know. And then September 5th, the Saturday of Labor Day weekend here in the States, we'll be returning to the KbaH. We're hoping to do another Halloween show at Bernice's Tavern. We just don't know if it'll be the Saturday before or the actual day of Halloween happens to be a Saturday this year. So we're just figuring out which one of those. Once we do that, then we'll be able to figure out, well, what are the other bands playing, that kind of thing. We've been working really hard on some Streetlight Manifesto covers. So if we're really ambitious, we're going to try to do, a 30-minute version of Streetlight Manifesto. And coincidentally, they're going to be in Chicago around that same time. So we'll definitely be advertising it as, hey, do you want to see Streetlight Manifesto, but queer and for free?
Hell
So,
yeah.
that's what we have for upcoming shows. The first album for any of your listeners is streaming on Apple, Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube Music. Second album, question mark when it will come out, but if you want to hear those songs, you got to see us live at those gigs. We do also have physical CDs. If you don't like streaming, we have physical CDs of the first album and eventually for the second one, along with stickers and t-shirts. And we're going to start working on making patches and buttons that say something along the lines of AI is not DIY. Support your local musicians, something like that. So that's my 2-minute spiel of advertising. I usually feel kind of icky advertising, but there you go. I hope you guys and your listeners, even if you can't make those shows, listen not to just my ska band, but ska in general. I think is such a great genre of music. There's so many different bands out there that have a wonderful variety. I'm sure if you're open-minded enough to listen to ska, and it's not just the feeling you get when you get an extra mozzarella stick, like I've seen that post a million times online. It's true, but it's not just that. Lyrically and music-wise, ska within the genre is so much more. I love it so much, and pop punk and emo as well. So if you're willing to listen to us, give a listen to some of those other bands that I shouted out earlier.
Well, thank you so much, RJ. I think that'll do it for us. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
So much for having me.
And enjoy the weekend for all of us. That's it for Dissonant Waves. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.